Evening, everyone. This is Elsie Kerns, and tonight we're going to step into the world of spirit. And I have a very unusual lady here with unique talents. Her name is Sera Rose, and she teaches at the Omega Institute and also at her Hudson Sanctuary on the Hudson in New York. So, Sera, I know that you are a master healer, spiritual teacher, and equally interesting is that you read the Akashic records.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be something that people would find very interesting and that we don't all know a whole lot about. So I want to welcome you this evening and ask you to start by telling us a little bit about how you got to, first of all, get into this work through
Mm-hmm.
some very unusual circumstances, and also let us know a little bit about Akashic records and what they are.
Sure. So I actually spent 18 years in higher education, working in the City University of New York as an advisor. This work was pretty much the last thing that I thought I would ever be doing. About 9 years ago, I started what most shamans would call initiation by spirit. For me, that came in as developing a neurological condition. And for most shamans that are initiated by spirit, it always has to do with some kind of test or trauma or condition. The Celts call it going and living with the fairies. As well as having what they call shamanic fire in the head, which is suffering from really severe migraines that almost act as seizures. And so going through this, I was still working in the higher education field, and about at the end of my shamanic initiation, I started they woke me up in a really profound way. I took a Reiki class, and within the first Reiki attunement, I was hearing pretty much all of the three shamanic worlds, the lower, middle, and upper, the lower being spirits of nature, nature energies, crystals, the middle world being our ancestral realm, and other living things that are living in the physical realm, and then the upper realms such as angels, elders, spirit guides, and such. And so I really got I would say, all of them within a very short period of time, and really didn't know what was going on. And I found Omega and spent one season really studying everything, and in that, studying all sorts of different modalities, tarot, mediumship, energy healing, shamanic Reiki, shamanic healing. And through that, I learned what had been happening to me. In terms of the Akashic records, what I view them as is in every behavior, thought, action, everything that happens in our world has a specific energy frequency that vibrates very specifically to that thing. And that gets stored in a universal energy system in which people who are attuned to or practice can connect with that vibration and bring that into their own energy field for their body, their mind, their heart, their soul to translate, and however that works for them, to receive images, words, knowings and feelings about somebody's past life, because all of recorded human history resides in this universal energy field.
Very interesting. So also, Sera Rose, I know that you were, actually initiated as a shaman, and through what you just explained, understood that you were an empath and able to make this connection to other spiritual worlds. So how would you say that that has, affected you and the way that you work with people and how you help other people understand, if they are an empath, what that really is and how you can help them?
Mhm. So through all of my studies as well as working with clients, I came to the realization that I was empathic, that I was picking up and feeling other people's emotions as my own, and not knowing I was interacting with them with their own emotion in my body. Um, what I would say is that being empathic is the precursor to connecting with spirit. It resides in our emotional body. Um, Everybody is empathic to a certain degree. It's those souls who've taken on that journey to advance their empathic skills within each lifetime, where some people know they're empathic and some people don't. The five energetic bodies energy system that I've developed um, helps me explain in the sense that when I do healings, there are five bodies: the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual, and also the energetic light body, which fuels the whole system. That emotional body is so important because that's where, for me, when I connect to spirit, spirit actually resides. That emotional layer connects into our bodies, our hearts, our souls, our minds, and allows us to basically translate those spiritual energies into language, whatever that language may be. It may be a feeling language, it may be words, it may be pictures. So I'm only, I could say, as good as translating as my own translating for spirit, and with as good as my lexicon is, my experiences, what I know. And so for some people out there who may be feeling like they're empathic, what I would do is encourage them to explore that a little bit more, as well as those who are wanting to develop a deeper connection. It's really about working in that heart space and developing those empathic skills.
Well, Sera Rose, I know that, we all have a certain amount of empathic nature, but I agree with you that when you really discover that you're picking up other people's feelings, especially when you're in the healing arts, that's sort of the gateway to helping that individual, and then also learning, how to protect yourself so you don't take on too much.
Mhm.
And I realize that you teach a variety of classes at the Omega Institute for Holistic Studies, which is, one of our premier um, spiritual centers here on the East Coast. So,
Mhm.
do you do that just during the summer and fall when they're open, or tell us a little bit about what you teach there?
Sure. So I am a soul and energy practitioner during the full season there. I do teach staff classes. I'm also going to be at the Energy for Healing Studio in Kingston on April 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, teaching a variety of classes, including crystal healing. Um, and I also have a five energetic bodies class, talking about understanding your energy field and empaths. I do also have exploring tarot for personal empowerment. That's really a beginners, intermediate, advanced, anybody who's interested in tarot. It's a great class for all levels. And then healing pain and trauma with spirit. So my take on that is using guided visualizations as well as shamanic journeys to really tap in to all the layers, the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual layers of what can compound in the body in a very specific place or areas where we, in our physical bodies, experience physical pain. Also going to be teaching a Tai Chi Easy class, which is a modified form of Tai Chi that's really adaptable for any wellness level or mobility level, which for me, it's the most interesting modality that I teach because you wouldn't think I would teach Tai Chi, but in fact, it's probably the most important in terms of cultivating our own energy system.
Well, I know that you've studied with Robert Pang, who's very famous and also teaches at Omega. But one of the things that caught my interest, because I know you know a lot about crystals, is that
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do a special class at Energy for Healing in
Mm-hmm.
Kingston, which, by the way, everyone, is right next to Princeton here in New Jersey. And you're going to talk about a specific crystal, selenite. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people are aware of it, but selenite is very unusual. So can you speak a little bit about selenite for us? Because I know you'll be doing, a whole class on that for us.
Sure. I would say that selenite is one of my favorite crystals to use both personally and in healing. Anybody who is trying to clear their aura, cleanse their aura, or even increase their own connection with spirit, it's a really great tool or crystal to use because it's so high vibrational that it actually changes your own vibration of your energy field. And the higher you vibrate, the more, let's say, juice or power you have to connect with spirit. Um, it's also great for clearing your aura. So I don't like to use the word protection because I think it has a fear-based frequency to it. But what I will say is that it makes your field so high vibrational that nothing can really stick to it. Those gooey emotions from other people really can't get to you or come into your aura because it's so high vibrational. They just really don't want to. They don't really want to be there because opposites in this case, opposites don't attract. Um, but it's also great for moving energy, especially if you're a healer, moving energy through a client's body where it will be stuck. And also cleansing and clearing their aura as well, or if there's a particular point in which you have physical pain in your body or a client has pain, selenite, placing selenite on that particular spot can actually reduce the feeling of pain. So those are just some of the things that, for me, selenite is my go-to crystal. If I'm feeling icky from an interaction with somebody or just stressed out, it's my first thing I go to.
So, Sera Rose, I know that in addition to teaching these classes, and by the way, that is at Energy for Healing in Kingston, New Jersey, April 4th to the 7th. You're also going to be doing individual readings and a wide variety. So tell us all the kinds of readings that you can do and that you offer to people so that they can decide what they need at that time.
Sure. So I like to think of my readings as very multidimensional. Clients are in the driver's seat. I'm just the translator. So in that, I do intuitive guidance, Akashic records, and even spiritual mentoring for those who are looking to understand how they access spirit or how to increase their access. And really, it's up to the client and how they want to mix those different topics within the read. I'm happy to go anywhere the client is based on their questions. So it's a really tailored approach based on where a client's interests are. I don't know. I hope that answered the question.
Yes. I was just switching back. Yes, it does. So that's great because people have an opportunity. And I think your own high intuition usually helps people decide where they need to go or what would be best for them at that time. And how long are the individual readings and what are the workshops at night? Give us a little more of a time frame so we know.
Sure. So I'll be doing on Thursday and Friday reads during the afternoon and morning. There's are individual reads that can be set up by appointment. I believe there's a link here that links back to our main site where the flyers and more information in terms of booking are. I'll be doing the crystal healing, selenite, the magic of selenite as a healing tool. Also, the 5 energetic bodies, understanding energy fields and empaths, those are at night. And then Exploring Tarot for Personal Empowerment is a full Saturday workshop. And then Saturday night is Healing Pain and Trauma with Spirit. That's the Shamanic Journey and Guided Visualization class on Saturday night, and then Tai Chi Easy on Sunday. But for any more information or for more details, there should be a link in which you can follow back to Sanctuary on Hudson.
I also have Gabriella's who helped us get connected with our technology tonight. Yeah. And people can email her. And in addition to your Facebook connection, I'm going to put Gabrielle's connection. So if people want to register or have any questions about that weekend, they can certainly contact her, or Energy for Healing as well. I'll put their phone number up there.
Wonderful.
So, Sera Rose, obviously today in this world, we are in, seems to be a continual state of crises. So is there any encouragement that you can give us? Time is moving faster than we can hold on to it. We're bombarded through the age of information, which way too much information in general, and all this technology. So any thoughts that you would have on that for us? Because we sure need help these days.
Sure. I think the first thing I tell my students is to consider a detox, actually, in terms of if you can at least go a day, if not maybe a few days or even a week, with no tech, no emails, no cell phone, no ways of somebody getting in contact with you. And it also encourages not to have that impetus to want to go check an email. And for me, that's really important because in order to clear your mind and have that space in your mind, you can't be distracted if you're trying to connect with spirit, or even if you're just trying to get some stress relief and clear mind for a healthier body. But if you are trying to connect more, get more guidance, you need to have a quiet mind. And sometimes the technology actually causes more chatter in your head. And so I would encourage anybody who thinks this might be helpful is to take a detox and set a time where there's no phone, no cell phone, and I would even say no TV as well, and see how it goes. Start off maybe with an afternoon or a full day, and see those benefits, and maybe increase it for a couple of days or even a week.
Well, we could all take a break from television. And I agree with you about minimizing our time on all this technology, which just produces a lot of electromagnetic radiation for us. So, Sera Rose, I really enjoyed speaking with you tonight. And you have such a broad array of studies that you've done and that you offer to people. Really very fascinating. And I also want to thank Gabriella for helping us with all the technology. I know that you live in a beautiful setting up off the Hudson there in New York, right in the middle of the woods, surrounded by nature. So I would also say to everyone that nature is a great healer. And I think that you would agree with that.
I would, absolutely. For me, it's the first place I go to if I get stressed. Just being able to connect with other living things that have such a beautiful collaborative energies with each other helps you really come into your own and connect with your own nature, your own physicality, and your own place within the natural world.
So, Sera Rose, I also want to take a moment to thank many of our people that dropped in. Here's Ree DiMatteo and Dolores Adolph, and Denise is here earlier, and a couple of others. I can't see them all, but a great group of people that joined us. Thank you. And I am going to also not only thank Sera Rose for her input tonight and remind you that she'll be in our area April 4th to the 7th at Energy for Healing in Kingston, New Jersey. And I'm going to put their information below also on our Facebook link when we end. And you can register for any of the classes or contact them about it, or her assistant, Gabriella, and find out which one appeals to you, or perhaps you'd like an individual reading with Sera Rose. I love your name. So
Thank you.
this is Elsie Kerns, Chaos to Clarity Coaching. And I want to thank everyone for joining us, and especially Sera Rose for coming on tonight and sharing information and clarifying what those Akashic records mean as well. So if you get a chance, make an appointment, learn a little bit more about your life, past, present, and future. Thanks, Sera Rose, for
Thank
coming
you.
on. Okay, everyone. Have a great night. We have a couple of high pressure days with fabulous weather. I think it's going to be 70 on Saturday or maybe Friday. So let's rejoice a little bit that spring has finally sprung. Good night, everyone.